company out there faces this huge challenge. How do we get our employees from just being trained to being truly competent? It's a question that honestly can make or break a business.
So whenever there's a performance issue, what's the first thing we do? We throw more training at it, right? More courses, more hours logged. But what if that's not just wrong? What if it's actually hiding the real problem? Look, every organization is on the same journey. We're all trying to build a super skilled, super effective workforce. We have our team right here, and we can see the goal way off on the horizon.
That ideal state of proven, rock-solid competence. The billion-dollar question, though, is how in the world do we actually get there? How do we cross that giant gap between where we are now and where we need to be?
Well, part of the problem is that we're living in two totally different worlds. On one hand, you have the training world. This is where we count things, right? Courses finished, hours attended. But then there's the competence world, where the only thing that matters is the result. Actual, measurable performance in the real-world chaos of your job. And the biggest mistake we keep making is thinking that ticking boxes in the first world automatically means you're a winner in the second. It just doesn't work that way. We love to think that training is this perfect bridge that gets people to competence. But here's the hard truth. For a lot of companies, that bridge is completely broken. It's got this massive, dangerous gap between what people learn in a classroom and what they actually need to do to succeed on the job. So, why is the bridge broken? What's really going on in that gap? Well, it boils down to three missing supports. First, there's totally unclear standards for what good even looks like. Second, there's no real way to assess if people can actually do the job. And third, there's zero verification to make sure those assessments are even fair or reliable. Okay, so if the old bridge is a total wreck, patching it up isn't going to cut it. We have to engineer a brand new one from the ground up. And that new bridge, well, that's a real competence system. This new bridge, this sturdy bridge, is built on three absolutely essential pillars. First, you define crystal clear standards that are tied to the actual work people do. Second, you assess their performance against those standards, but in real-world situations. And third, you verify the whole process to make sure it's consistent and trustworthy. Let's dig into that first pillar for a second, standards. A real competence standard isn't some fluffy corporate mission statement. Nope. It's a super precise, observable description of what amazing performance looks like for one specific task. And this is the most important part. It has to be anchored to the real stuff your people do day in and day out, not some generic case study. Think about it. You can't possibly assess something you haven't defined. It's impossible. And that's why that second pillar, assessment, suddenly becomes so powerful once you have those clear standards in place. You're not just testing abstract knowledge anymore. You're actually evaluating performance under real pressure, gathering cold, hard evidence of what someone can do. And the final pillar holding this whole thing together? Verification. Because without it, saying someone is competent is really just an opinion, isn't it? It's totally subjective. Verification is the process that makes the whole system fair, reliable, and honestly, something you could defend in court if you had to. Now, when you put a system like this in place, it does way more than just change your process. It actually causes this fundamental shift in how you think about who's responsible for competence in the first place. Let's break it down. The old way, the training first way, just assumes training is the magic bullet. You show up, you get a certificate, and we just assume you're competent. The new way, the system first way, is completely different. It understands that a system is the solution. It never, ever assumes competence. It demands evidence, and then it verifies it. It's a total reframing of the entire problem. And I want to be really clear about something. This doesn't mean you get rid of training. It's actually the opposite. A good competence system makes your training incredibly effective. Instead of being this blanket solution you throw at every problem, training becomes a surgical tool that you use to fix the specific skill gaps you found during the assessment. When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one simple, powerful idea. Competence cannot just be assumed. It's not something you can hope for. It has to be actively and systematically verified. So I want you to take a hard look at your own organization. Are you just assuming competence? Are you standing on one side of that broken bridge just hoping people make it across? Or are you intentionally building a system to define, to assess, and to verify the competence that actually drives your success? Because the answer to that question really determines whether you're building on solid ground or just on thin air.